Good morning. My name's Jason Davenport, and each October here at Grace we have a stewardship campaign that highlights the ministries of our church and how we can support the efforts of those ministries. Part of my title here at the church, in addition to youth ministry, is Director of Stewardship. And in that role, I help head up our stewardship team that's made up of 9 members of our congregation and our church treasurer. We meet monthly to review the church financial statements, to build the annual budget, to consider projects that come up after the annual budget has been completed, and to pray together about how we can be wise stewards of the resources that come to the church. In addition to financial stewardship, we also try to get all of you, the members of the church, to think about what time and talents that you have and how they can be connected to the needs of the community. We occasionally ask you to fill out a time and talent survey to consider needs like the ones that are posted on the new bulletin board right outside the kitchen. We work to educate new members about various ministry teams and initiatives that they can be involved in to connect with the church. That word stewardship is an admission that we don't own the things that we have, and that even our time and our energy belong to God, and that we are but stewards of those things that can be used for God and God's kingdom. The money that we work for, that we inherit, that we gain through the growth of investments is wrapped up and tied to our faith, and it matters what we do with those resources from a faith perspective. Since I made my first paycheck as a teenager, I've always been a tither. My church and my parents drilled that into me from a very young age. And so when I first went to work, 10% of everything that I made went back toward the church and toward God's missions. Most of the time it's been 10% directly to the local congregation, but there's been some times in our family when we've given 8% to the church and we've chosen to give 10% to other ministries that are going on outside in the larger world. I say that to ask you to ponder your situation. And the important thing is to take stock of where you are at this point in your giving and in your faith life, and to consider moving possibly toward a 10% gift in 2025. Scripture talks to us about how important it is that we give God our first and our best, not what's left over at the back end, but off the top, at the beginning. This is because how we give and what we give says a lot about our priorities. If God is number one in our lives, then God should get the first portion of the harvest, that top cut from our direct deposit. Here are a few key points that it's important for you to know about life at Grace. Our stewardship team has a philosophy that we don't fund recurring cost out of savings or investments, which means that each year's budget needs to be funded through our pledges and gifts given during that current year. So as recurring expenses go up, as they always do, and if staff get cost of living raises or any raises above that, then those need to be funded from new pledges, from pledges that come, and gifts that come into the church during that calendar year. The philosophy of the stewardship team in recent years has been that one-time projects can be funded out of investments and savings. And so you can see how important it is that we get an estimate of giving or a pledge from as many giving units as possible so we know what we can do in our budget in 2025. Another important point is that the financial information of the church is always open to all of you and available to all of you. Each month after the stewardship team meets, we post the monthly financial reports on the bulletin board. If you go out the door of the sanctuary, go to the left, then immediately on your right, you'll see a bulletin board that says Grace Business, and you'll see the financial reports posted right there. And those financial reports show you everything that's been budgeted line item by line item and what's been spent year to date, month by month. We want that information to be available to all of you because it's our life together. Your stewardship team and your session believe in total financial transparency so that you can know where your dollars go within the life and ministry of the church. And one last key point. Our church has reached the goal as we grew over the last several years to our goal of giving 10% of donated revenue to mission projects. What that means is we see what was actually received in 2024, and we take 10% of that number, and we tell the local missions team, take these funds and do wonderful things with them in our community, outside of these walls. That team has built important relationships with the Historic Paradise Foundation, with Bethel Shelters, with Room in the Inn, with Habitat for Humanity of York County, with Community Cafe and Roof Above and Thornwell Home for Children and Give Kids the World, with International Missions, and with Providence Presbytery. And I'm sure I've probably left something out of the good work that the local missions team is helping us do. In 2025, the local missions team will have a little over $42,000 at its disposal to do God's work outside of the walls of Grace. The rest of the budget is used to help us be a mission center here. It pays our staff. It pays the natural gas bill and the water bill, the electricity bill. It repairs the building when something's broken, when the roof starts to leak, or when something needs to be updated. It buys paper and office supplies. It buys things for the kitchen and for the building. It provides for our children's ministry, our youth ministry, and all of the other groups that are connected with our church. Our budget provides for the music ministry so that they can have what they need to bless us in worship. It provides for audiovisual equipment. It makes way for all the groups that meet within our congregation, no matter how closely or loosely they're connected. Things like our widows support group, our 4 weekly Bible studies, our Sunday school curriculum. It provides a place for 13 AA groups to meet within these walls and for the scouts to be here on a weekly basis. It provides a safe environment for our preschool, which fills the hallways with children Monday through Thursday. And it makes possible our important partnership with Temple Solel. I want you to think for just a moment, just for a few seconds, about your favorite part of Grace Church. What is it that makes you feel connected? What is it that through which you live out your faith in this place? And imagine for a moment if that piece were no longer here. When you make your pledge for 2025, those are the things that you are pledging to support and to help keep happening and to help grow. So this is my plea. Pledge if you are able. If your financial circumstances change throughout 2025, that's no problem. You can make a change to your pledge. Just let us know in the office. But pledge based on what you think you'll be giving to the church in 2025 as an act of faith and as a response to what God has done for you. We're asking everyone to complete a pledge online or on a paper pledge card on or before Sunday, November 3rd. There'll be an email coming your way with a link to the online pledge card, and it'll be coming to you in the weekly Grace to You email. And there are, starting today on the back table, paper pledge cards. If you prefer to make your pledge that way, you can make your pledge in the white box. You can drop it by the office anytime. You can mail it to the church, whatever works best for you. As you see on the screen, our theme this year is love in action. From John, based on the verse, 1 John 3:18. Let us love in word and in speech, not in word and in speech, but in truth and in action. I've already mentioned many, certainly not all of the ways that we are the definition of love in action. And I encourage you, as Paul does so often in the New Testament, to make Christ a living priority in your life and in our life together, so that we can continue to do amazing works of love in action. Thank you for what you've given through the years. And thank you for continuing to pledge to support God's work in this place in 2025. I appreciate your time.